everyone. Welcome to another discussion session right here at the APVA Awards 2023. It's T-Code again. I have to do this again and again and again. But you know why I'm doing this? So we can have an interesting conversation with people that are involved in putting this award show or event together to make it a success. And part of those people could be the judges or could be partners or associations that are collaborating with us. And today we have one of our very, very important personalities. And this individual has been very supportive since we started this award. Since last year, she was a judge. And this year as well, she is a judge at the APVA Awards 2023. I'm talking about one of Africa's brightest voiceover artists, a professional voiceover artist. She's from Kenya. She's the co-founder and administrator of the Voice Actors League of Kenya, VALK, and she's also the secretary at Kenya Casting Agents, Model and Talent Welfare Association. I'm talking about no other person than the accomplished executive voiceover coach of over 8 years experience, Jennifer Kanari. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you. What a wonderful introduction.
Yeah. And to just do a bit of justice and balance to that introduction, 8 years of coaching, but about 20 years of experience as a voiceover artist. Correct, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
I mean, it's such an honor to be able to interview you and talk about voiceover in Africa. But this time around, we're looking at the APVA Awards particularly. But before we get into all of the awards conversation and juice, tell us a bit about the Voice Actors League of Kenya and what's happening in the voiceover industry in Kenya. I'm so curious to know.
That project and topic. Yeah, so the Voice Actors League of Kenya, if you can remember from last time, was born out of a need for us to support one another, have a place to vent, but more importantly, to help equip us, the older guys, the OGs, helping the younger guys, because of a lot of the things we had found through trial and error and stress and tension, to just help them not have to go through all that. And it's developed since 2013 into a huge, beautiful family. And I think the workshops we give a monthly workshop. We strive to do an in-person workshop. Since COVID, we started doing it online. And we have begun to do it again this year so that we can meet face to face, but we meet regularly online. We interact almost daily on WhatsApp and email. And the whole point is we're starting to see results where people are more confident about the business aspect of voiceover, which is where so many of us fail.
And it's such a beautiful community. I'm privileged to be a part of the community, even though I'm not Kenyan. Yes. And there's just a lot to learn from you guys over there in Kenya, how you're able to manage the voiceover scene over there. Of course, there's a lot of work to be done, but you know, the efforts and all of that, they're admirable. Now let's talk about your involvement in this award. Last year, in fact, it wasn't just only you. We had Kenyans nominated for the award. We had the likes of Cynthia Kimola, Cynthia Kimola. We had Ayuma Michelle. We had Daniel. I can't remember all of them now. And a couple of even Wakil Mzenge, who turned out to be a winner, right?
That's right.
So it's interesting. But now, from a judge's point of view, what would you say about the consciousness of the voiceover industry in Africa? You know, you are not, as a judge right now, you're not only dealing with Kenyans, you're dealing with people from Nigeria submitting, people from Kenya, people from Uganda, people from Egypt, people from South Africa, Ghana, and different spaces. How would you say the voiceover industry in Africa has developed in terms of consciousness? You know, people paying attention to this as a career, as a craft, and putting in their excellence in it.
Yeah, you're right. This year I saw Egypt for the first time, which was good. And like you say, across the board, with all the different nations that were represented, it's doing very, very well. There's clearly are matching to the international standards, even the audio visuals. And so I think applause to the Kenyans, applause especially to the new talent coming in. And obviously people who have home studios are doing a lot of great work. That is also evident. So people are becoming more and more independent. And the quality of production, Tolu, was awesome, you
Wow.
know, and so it's all very, very encouraging. One of the things that I think, you know, we continue to strive to do is to maybe be more African. But in terms of being on par and doing ads the way a global audience has learned to consume and is familiar with, we've got it. We match with whatever accent we come with, even the Arabic that the Egyptians were speaking, the tonality, the happy, the pace, excellent. It's just, I think, and maybe that's the nature of the kind of work that we're doing. It is for that audience, or it's from those clients that we're finding our work, or we're looking for more money from. And so my looking for and yearning for African content, the demand is likely to come from us. And which I'd like to say APVA is really instrumental in doing. I think just the recognition of African talent and a lot of the podcasters who speak from an African perspective. Because what's different with voiceover and podcast is the podcast is owned by the podcaster. And, you know, the voiceover artist, we're often doing work that's coming from someone else. And applying our skill to that project. It's not our own project. So maybe that's an area APVA can encourage, you know, personal initiative and see what that will do.
Oh, we're gonna
African content, yeah.
That sounds good, and we're looking into all of that as you've just mentioned. But it's interesting that you also talked about this being sort of like a challenge, talking about how it's important for us to stay African in our renditions. Now let's talk a bit about the things that you noticed to have been shortcomings for the nominees and the works that he submitted. I mean, you screened tens of submissions, and you probably heard certain things that you felt these people could do better. And if they had just added this spice here and there, you know, they'll probably be on top. So, of course, they're on top anyway. So what are those things that you think that voiceover artists, especially in this process, what can they do better next time?
I really was impressed by the vocal performance and the audio quality all around. So in terms of what could be done better, there were just a few actors who you could say and I'm the last person to say this, but the British accent over your African accent. You know what I mean? Although, you know, American or British influence on our accents, I don't know if we rightly represent Africa, you know, as much as those whose accents are just clearly from the region they come from. I know, Tolu, to say that when I work with international artists or producers, they're actually disappointed that my accent is so clean and I come from Africa. And so, of course, with every job, if that is what the client is looking for, then of course you must deliver that. So my point here is where you can just be proud of your accent and don't try and bend it to sound more British or American.
Great.
Other than that, yeah, I was really happy.
Great. I have one more question. Great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I have one more question before we get into your stuff, because I know you have a couple of things you're putting together to, foster the voiceover industry in Africa. But one more question about the award, the APVA Awards, is that and even the African continent, okay, let's start with APVA. This award, what would you say is the relevance and importance of an award like this for the voiceover industry in Africa?
Anything that supports us, anything that encourages the voice talent and affirms them in this as a career, especially to those who they interact with, because voice acting is still misunderstood largely, is very good. And so APVA becoming more regular, and an APVA award or an APVA nomination begins to, generate that conversation for the individuals who participate. And even as APVA grows and people now begin to see that there's podcasting and there's voiceover acting, and they all kind of, are strong on the voice and that skill. It's wonderful. I think it's that. It's supporting, it's inspiring, encouraging. So
all right.
it's great.
So what I was gonna ask about right now is, before we started, you talked about you have a book that you're putting together. So tell us a bit about the book, because I know it's important for us as voiceover artists to read and find information about our craft. With 20 years of experience, I can't wait to see what is contained there. Tell us about it.
Watch this space. Yes, I'm very excited to be putting it together.
Yeah.
And it's been born, it is created out of the Voice Actors League, the kind of questions I receive over and over and over again, especially with new talent coming in. And also with things like APVA, being involved with APVA and seeing that these questions are kind of common across the board. And the voiceover conferences, I'm hearing the same questions. And by the way, I did not mention that about APVA. You've shrunk Africa so we can be together and see the regions that voice actors are working and coming out and becoming more and more prevalent. And so my book is targeting all of Africa, which is why it's called My Take on How to Be a Successful Voice Actor, and a voice actor's handbook from an African perspective. So it's as simple as I can make it, so that the chapters are not too long and it's a reference point. Because sometimes a new artist, the internet has amazing information, but you can get lost trying to find it, trying to figure it out. So I guide you through that. I give you a basic perspective of each area, whether it's the business aspect, the genres that exist, how to negotiate in terms of business and think through scope, number count, word count. And, I talk about how to take care of your voice. I talk about the generosity of the voiceover industry, both internationally and Africa wide now. And I try and also talk about other voice coaches, how coaching is now more available. And yes, I offer coaching, so of course I'm in that list, but there are others. There are men who men might work better with. And so I'm trying to use it also to support my fellow actors in this space. And so that's what it is. It's chapters. I want to add scripts in there as well. Now I'm doing Swahili scripts because where do you find Swahili scripts online? And this is the first edition, so I can incorporate Nigerian scripts, pidgin scripts later, or point people to where those things are. So yeah, it's my contribution to the people coming in and intermediary level voice talent who haven't really thought through some of the areas that they can now see exist and are necessary to be successful continually. So that's what it's for.
That's genius, and I can't wait to lay my hands on the book. I hope it's available for purchase now, or
Yes, in fact, what am I waiting for? I think, well, I'm doing the final edits this week,
Okay.
today actually, and
Okay.
so it will launch. It will launch. The back office is ready, and yes, so I'll definitely share with you, so you
Great.
can share with your audience. Yes,
Great. We'll be so glad to spread the word. Thank you so much,
yes,
Jennifer.
yes.
I want to let you go now, but I have just one more thing I would like to request from you. Not all the time you get the opportunity to have a word or a conversation with someone like you, with all of those experience. So on behalf of every voiceover artist in Africa, I'm putting you on stage now. If you had the opportunity to pass a message across to every one of us, something in your heart that you want voice actors to know as Africans, what would that message be? And that's where we're going to be wrapping up this discussion session.
Africa is ripe for taking advantage of in-house, and the world is finally gravitating to recognize that there is talent, that has skill, that is reachable, that is professional. So there has never been, in my over 20 years of experience, a better time to be in voiceover acting than now. And so don't hold back anything in terms of getting yourself prepared. Find help. Don't hold back. Come out. It's an awesome way to make extra money. Speaking. Who pays you to speak? And so this is a wonderful industry to be in. I and all the other people who work around supporting voice actors are here to help you. Take advantage of us, and let's bring the wealth back home, so that we can actually now start doing what, because everyone's listening, let's do things for Africa that they will start coming to look for. So as you make money out there, help make the African stories alive again, create African content that is honorable, that is moral filled, that puts Africa in the perspective that the world, we're no longer the dark continent. And I think voice acting is doing that. Is we have a role where we're showing that there is talent, there is professionalism, there is creativity in Africa. And so we're helping repair, if you will, or correct a misconception about what Africa is about. And so let's use that and make Africa great again.
All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer Kanari. It's been a great discussion session with you. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it from the veteran herself, Jennifer Kanari, who is the co-founder of the Voice Actors League of Kenya, all the way from Kenya, of course. And she's also a professional voiceover coach. So you can check more about Jennifer Kanari on our website at www.jenniferkanari.com. Of course, you can also find our books or our book on the website. I'm sure it's going to be populated soon at jenniferkanari.com. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's been a pleasure talking to you right now. And let's get back to the rest of... Yeah, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, let's get back to the rest of the awards, guys. I'm T-Code, and I'll see you soon. Bye.